The families of some of the victims of an Islamic State group that beheaded hostages have said 2 captured fighters should face trial. British fighters Alexander Qadi and El Shafi El Sheikh were captured by Syrian Kurdish forces. Bethany Haynes, whose father David, a British aid worker, was beheaded by the cell, said she hoped they die a slow, painful death. Qadi and El Sheikh were 2 of 4 UK's members known as the Beatles. They should be locked up and throw away the key, Ms. Haynes said. Should there be a trial, she said she would attend and look them in the eye and let them know I am who I am and they have certainly destroyed a big part of my life. Hopefully there will be some justice. Diane Foley, whose son James, an American journalist, was beheaded by the cell, said she wanted the 2 men to face life imprisonment. She told Newsbay Radio 4's Today program, "Their crimes are beyond imagination." Mrs. Foley said that she would like the men to face trial in the US, but she would be most grateful so long as they are brought to fair trial and detained and justice is served. It doesn't bring James back, but hopefully it protects others from this kind of crime, she said. Qadi and El Sheikh were the last 2 of the Beatles, so called because of their British accents. Qadi, from West London, was a guard for the group that was described by U.S. authorities as an execution cell. The U.S. State Department says he took part in the torture of hostages and acted as a recruiter for IS. El Sheikh earned a reputation for waterboarding, mock executions, and crucifixions while serving as the cell's guard, the U.S. State Department says. Both are designated terrorists by the U.S., which says they have used exceptionally cruel torture methods. They worked with the cell's alleged ringleader, Mohammed Emwazi. Dubbed Jihadi John, he was the masked militant from West London who featured in gruesome IS videos, taunting Western powers before beheading hostages. Mr. Foley was one of the victims whose death was seen in those videos. Others were British aid workers David Haynes and Alan Henning, U.S. journalist Stephen Sotloff, and American aid worker Peter Kassig. Emwazi was killed in a drone strike in 2015 in Raqqa, the former de facto IS capital in Syria. Ain Davis, also from West London and the 4th member of the cell, was convicted of being a senior IS member. He was jailed in Turkey last year on terrorism charges after being arrested near Istanbul in 2015. The father of Ain Davis has told the Newsbay that his son had nothing to do with the cell. Nicolas Henin, a French journalist who spent 10 months as an IS captive, told Today that he wanted justice and not revenge. He stressed that any attempt to deny the men of their civil rights would only feed IS claims of victimization by the West. I will be extremely frustrated if they were not offered a fair trial, and I don't think the local authorities in northern Syria or detention in Guantanamo Bay would be justice, he said. U.S. officials said the execution cell had beheaded at least 27 hostages and tortured many more. They confirmed the latest arrests. Officials quoted by U.S. media said the 2 men had been captured by members of the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, who are targeting remnants of IS. A Kurdish official from the SDF has said Qadi was on his way to Turkey when he was captured. He was intending to escape towards Turkey with cooperation and coordination with friends of his on the Turkish side. He is now under investigation with us, Ritter Zelal said. A Turkish security official called the claim nonsense. By Gordon Koura, Newsbay security correspondent. The Home Office will not comment on individual cases, but it is understood that the 2 men have been stripped of their British citizenship. In recent years, there has been an increased use of this power, largely in response to those traveling out to Syria and Iraq. The Home Secretary can deprive someone if that is considered conducive to the public good, and doing so would not make them stateless. But there is also the power to remove it if a person obtained their citizenship fraudulently or through naturalization and there are reasonable grounds to believe the person is able to become a national of another country. The Home Secretary has to personally decide to carry out a deprivation.